A warm welcome to Anuradha Vedic Astrology. Today we are going to talk about Saturn in the 4th house and what it brings for us. But before that, a big thanks to all of you for liking, sharing and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels and writing in your comments and suggestions there. If you haven't written to us, if you haven't subscribed to us, please do. And do remember to press the bell icon so that you can get the updates ASAP. Let's talk about Saturn to begin with. Saturn has a lot of characteristics, but the few ones that we are going to take here are hard work, discipline, administration and restrictions. Saturn is also a very cold planet, so its ability to emote is also restrictive. Saturn does show a lot of strength, inner strength to talk about, and it walks slowly, so there is a slow growth in Saturn wherever that it sits. Now when we are talking about the 4th house, the 4th house talks about our emotional stability, our parental influence, especially the mother. It talks about our land, our home. It talks about the kind of profession we can be influenced by, because any planet sitting in the 4th house will also aspect the 10th house, which is diametrically opposite it. Then when we talk about the 4th house also talks about money, bank, etc. for us. So when we are talking about Saturn's placement in the 4th house, let's talk about these things in context. The 4th house is also the mother's lap or the early childhood. So it can show that when Saturn is placed in the 4th house, that the person can have a very strong or a very frugal childhood and can have a very disciplined childhood, because Saturn tends to discipline the person. The person can take up the responsibility of their home and hearth at a very young age, because that again the 4th house talks about a young age for you, and Saturn can then show a responsibility happening at a young age and an influence of one of the parents. It's generally the mother, because it's the 4th house that we're talking about, the person can have an influence of. When we talk about Saturn as a cold planet, and when Saturn is placed in the 4th house, it says you may grow up in a house or an environment where there is not too much of emotional bonding, or you may not be emotionally connected with your mother, or may feel that there is certain distance between you and your parent. Why so? Because Saturn creates that detachment or that distance until and unless it is aspected by a benefic. If it is aspected by a benefic, then your mother can take up your responsibility also. As I said, that Saturn gives you in the 4th house, gives you a desire, an ability and a situation where you have to take up responsibility of your home and its security from an early age. You will feel very secure and comfortable in your home ground, because that is where Saturn is sitting. When we talk about the finances of a person, because Saturn also is aspecting your 6th house of work, you would be very strong and would have a very deep innate nature to work hard, so that you can get a lot of benefits in life, because the 10th house is also aspected by Saturn and the Lagna also aspected by Saturn. So there is growth in life, but it's shine or slowly and slowly. And Saturn sitting in the house of bank, that is the 4th house, you may have a bank balance that grows later or slower than what it does for others in life. So that is one area where you have to be very careful about, or you cannot rush that, so to speak. When we talk about the living conditions now, wherever the person lives, that person would want a structure. They would follow a routine. Their mornings, their evenings, they would have set routines, and their house would also be like, they would like to run their household like a clockwork. So discipline about time, what work has to be done, all those things come into very strong application. And we also see the administrative effect when we talk about Saturn aspecting the 10th house. So such a person would be good with administration. These person, they may not be very emotive, but they are responsible, highly responsible about their work, about their home also, and they do not shy away from taking that work on themselves. When we talk about mental health, these people obviously, because as I said that it's Saturn sitting there, which is kind of a cold planet, so mental health can be a problem many a times with repressed emotions, which will show themselves up at a later stage. And sometimes if this 4th house is afflicted due to an PSE of any other malefic, then along with Saturn, it can give issues, health issues like asthma, other lung diseases. It can also cause breast cancer in women. So these are certain areas one needs to be careful about. But on the whole, when Saturn is sitting in the 4th house, it will make you feel happy at home, and it will make you work from home also, because that Saturn aspecting the 10th house allows you to work. Life will progress at a slow pace for you. You will not be able to get a lot of work at the same go, but rest assured, work will always come for you. It will be enough to sustain, and after a period of hard work, Saturn then propels you into an area where the growth is phenomenal. So, don't be disheartened when you have Saturn in the 4th house. Work hard and you will see that life pushes you in an orbit which is very beautiful. With this, I will take two examples. The first example is that of A.R. Rahman. It's a known fact that A.R. Rahman started working from a very young age of 13 years because his father had passed away, and being the eldest, he had to sustain all his brothers and sisters too. There is also the fact that he was highly influenced by his mother, and because his mother asked them to change their religion, he also changed their religion. Mother was a very decisive force in his life. What more, we also know that in his profession, he has made a very, very clean image. So, when we talk about professional image, there is a very clean, very slowly developing and yet a highly respectable image that we see. The second one is also that of Anand Vishwanathan, and Anand Vishwanathan also we know that worked really hard from a very young age to pick up the profession that he did, became the first grandmaster India had to produce in the world, and went on to, and still after a certain age, when his Saturn gave way to a, after a lot of hard work, gave him the way, gave him the path to success, he is still climbing bigger and better goals that can be achieved. So, Saturn in the 4th house is good enough. And if you want to know another person, that's Elvis Presley for you, who had Saturn in the 4th house. The emotional distancing or the emotional bereavement can be very well seen from Elvis Presley's chart. So, till we meet with you again, stay safe. Thank you.
Please hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.